So this podcast right here is a true definition of putting in work. This guy started off behind the chair like a lot of us and supported me at the time to now becoming side by side with me on stages all over the world representing the same companies. This is the true definition. If you work for it, you're going to definitely earn it. My boy Sean Cuts here. Enjoy the episode. Let's go. What's going on, everyone? It's your boy Los Cut It, and you're in the cut with today's guest. But first, I got to introduce to you guys my new co-host, all the way from the New York City. I was going to say the New York City. All the way from New York City, my boy DC. You guys may know him as G&B Pro. What up, DC?
What up, Los? Thank you for having me, bro.
He is a platform artist and educator. He just got signed with Babyliss. He's a Tune 45 educator as well, right? So I got to give it to my boy. I'm just gonna call you by Sean Cuts Hair, bro, because it's the only thing that feels organic, man. You guys know him as Sean Cuts Hair, Sean Ralston,
aka.
We're trying to get it right before we got here, but dude, listen, welcome. First of all, thank you for coming to Chicago, bro. Thank you for being here. It's an honor to have you here because I've seen your growth. I've seen the things you got going on. Share it, man. Share with us. How's it feel to be here, man?
Yeah, it's sick. I mean, I think I saw you at CT and we talked, and you were doing something. I was gonna try to get up here because I'm like 5.5 hours south. So this is one of those trips. I don't have a big airport near me, so this is one of them trips that it just makes sense to drive, because if I drive 2 hours to the airport and fly and all that, so kind of a different style trip because we're driving. We got the car here, but I was gonna come up to your class and you're like, yeah, if you come up, man, we'll do the podcast. So that didn't happen, but I think I had my daughter that week actually, so I was like, dang, I can't be gone the week. I didn't know when she was coming, but so I missed it. And so, yeah, we're here for this event. And obviously, this was something I wanted to make sure we sat down and got to do.
But we're here to share your story, man. We were just talking about this before we got on. There's a lot that I know of you simply based off social media, based off YouTube. But there's also a lot that I don't know, man. I think there's a lot of people like we were talking about earlier, that people that follow you heavy in the YouTube world, because it's a lot different than the TikTok world. It's a lot different than the Instagram world. And I'm more affiliated and deep into the Instagram world than I am in YouTube. Having you here, I would love for you to shine some light on the YouTube operations, how all those things work. But at the same time, I want to shine light on your story, man. Like, how old are you? Because you did say daughter right now. Earlier you said kids. Now, coming from somebody like myself at 36, I ain't got no kids. I'm like, damn, sometimes we're not as young as we think we are, especially when guys have kids and families and all that. So how old are you, man? And how many kids you got?
So I think we actually are very close. Our birthdays, like maybe a week away. So I'm 36, July 18th.
Oh, yeah, that's right. We did talk about this earlier.
When's yours?
Okay. July 23rd. I'm a Leo, though. You're a Cancer.
That's right.
Leo. Yeah, we're apart, but so you'll be 37, too.
37, yeah.
Oh, so we're a week apart then.
Yeah, 5 days.
And how many kids you got?
I got 2.
Nice, bro. How old?
2.5 and 6 months.
Man, congrats. 6 months?
It's a handful right now, yeah.
Oh, dude.
It's rough.
So how do you balance that with dude, right now, it just feels like you're on fire, bro. You're growing. And I couldn't even imagine being in that position that you're in now with a 6-month-old and 2 kids, little kids, you know? How do you balance that out, bro?
It's tough. I mean, it's definitely something that's taking time, and I'm still figuring out. You know, here I am, like, signing on with the Babyliss deal, and my wife's like,
congrats to that, by the way.
Yeah, appreciate it. And, like, what's that going to look like? You know, like, are you going to be gone more? And I was like, well,
maybe.
And you just have to figure it out as it goes. And, yeah, hopefully I am gone more. But I've tried to position myself, and you've probably dealt with this in your own way. But when you're doing these different things, sometimes you got to say, like, I just recently stepped away from the chair pretty much. Like, I work 1 day a week now for clients. That's probably a phase you went through when it became about the content and traveling and really doing that versus cutting clients. So I went through that slowly. But like what I just told my clients was like, look, I'm getting opportunities that I, begged for, dreamed about, working with Babyliss, working with Tune 45, and now OP 45. I get to educate for Josh OP. I mean, just if you'd have asked me the top 3 things, I got my own bag, like all these opportunities that are coming, all the things I really wanted to chase are coming. And I can do that. And then I have a family that I have to be at home with. And then I got a barbershop to cut clients. And if one has to go, no offense, but I can tell you which one it's going to be. Like,
you ain't got to say.
Yeah, like, so, I said that in as nice a way as possible. But, something I think Josh probably said this on his podcast you did with him. One of my favorite things that he's talked about, because that's the question everybody asks. Even like new people coming in taking a class was like, hey, like, Lois, how do you balance? We know you travel. And Josh talks about, you can't balance a day. Like today I left at 7:45. I was gone from the house at 7:45. So there was no time spent with my family today. So you can't balance one day. Some days call for you to be out of town or to be doing something. But like, can you balance the week out? So like when I get home, I'm not going to go in the shop. And
Facts.
or if I'm gone for a 5-day event, you know, the London trip was like 5 days.
Yeah.
So I didn't work at all when I went back for that whole week, and I didn't go out of town for a couple weeks. So, you know, collectively at the end of the month, what does it look like? Like, is the wife getting the attention she deserved? Are the kids getting the attention they deserved? Is the shop getting the attention? You
It's
know,
tough, man.
Yeah, it is. It is. So, and the content, right? Like YouTube, I stay consistent with. So like when it needs attention, I go handle it. When the wife's like, hey, you know, you've been kind of gone for a while and whatever, then you got to put the computer up and you got to focus on them for a while. So it's always a kind of a juggling act. But
Right. Let me ask you, does wifey in somehow or some way get involved with everything you do, or she live like a whole separate life?
Not involved, but I mean, you know how it is. We got to eat, sleep, and breathe it, right?
Yo,
so
100%.
she knows, you know, she wears clutch merch around. She's got 245 gear. She knows more about haircuts and clippers and stuff. So not something she does. I've let her cut my hair before for a video. She thought it was cool.
Oh, nice.
She'll point out haircuts out and about. And so she obviously knows her stuff. My son loves daddy's work is what he calls it. So they come in all the time. So, I mean, she's immersed in it, but she doesn't necessarily like have a part. But anytime I'm like, hey, I'm gonna put you in this video and this is what you're gonna do, like, okay, that's cool.
That's
so
dope, they support it.
in it. Yeah,
100%.
absolutely.
So we're roughly around the same age, man. What we are the same age.
Not roughly. We
to
almost.
the T. How long you been doing hair?
So I think I'm on like my 10th year right now. Like
year.
I'm rolling on year 10.
So you started at what, 26?
26, yeah. 2014.
What did you do before?
I was in the restaurant business for like 12 years.
Doing
since
what
my
exactly?
first job. So I worked at Texas Roadhouse. I worked my way up from. I was kind of always this guy that was like nothing was
Always
ever,
building, yeah.
Yeah, nothing was ever good enough. So I worked my way up. And long story short, yeah, I went from like a busboy to the kitchen staff to a manager, low end manager. Left there, become a higher up manager at a different restaurant pretty quickly. And I'll never forget. Like my dad was like, man, you know, like we just think there's more out there for you. You know, like you're so hands on and creative. When I used to always say like, well, somebody's got to be a restaurant manager. You know, so and I enjoyed it. Like it. But what I realize now is I got to delegate things. I got to have like-minded people around me, even though we was shaking chicken wings and hot sauce, but like we was doing it
business,
good. Yeah. And so like really all the things that I did throughout, I'm still doing. I wasn't really making content of shaking chicken wings, but you know,
same effort, same amount of effort.
Same effort, same like working up, moving up, wanting to get a raise and get another position and whatever. So, but yeah, I did that for 12 years, and I literally just told my guys that are with me today on the drive up that I wish I could go back. It's one of those things.
What would you do different?
Not different. I wish the day that I decided I'm gonna be a barber, I'm gonna switch it up. I wish I could go back and hear my thoughts and remember what I was thinking, because it's a big jump.
That is an interesting question.
At the time, I was 26. I think I was making like 45,000 a year as like a mid-grade manager. Like that's pretty good where I'm at. Like like not a lot of people my age were doing that, you know. So I really had a decent setup, but I wanted something different. So
I'm gonna let you speak this because I can sense you jumping in.
I had a question.
I know you got a question. I just want to ask this before it leaves me, right? If you had to give any advice, because I'm sure, bro, what's weird to me is that I grew up as a barber, bro, like at 12 years old, so such a young age, right? I never had do something and then shift the way you did. And I'm sure, and what I've noticed that, you know, is the thing, you know, I don't know if you know, but there's people out here, barbers that call a certain category of barbers, they call them the COVID barbers. People that all became barbering during COVID when there was no barbering allowed. Like you couldn't cut hair. People had to learn how to cut their hair. They found interest in it. They became barbers and learned. So when I talk to people and they'd be like, oh, I've been doing hair for 3 years, 4 years. That's COVID barber. Like you started it. But outside of that, there's people watching right now that are probably also working regular jobs that are probably interested in knowing, like, man, how do I make that jump? Like, is it worth it? Is it not worth it? Well, what advice would you give to them as far as like you going from a salary, like 9-to-5 manager position to now you're in the jungle and trying to figure it out cutting hair? Like, what was it that worked out for you, and what can you tell them or share with them that could help them out?
Yeah, so I think this is huge, and this, you know, one thing I always give credit to the barber that one of my guys I worked with at Buffalo Wild Wings. He took me to this barber, and it was my first like adult barbershop experience. Like my cousin was cutting my hair, and I went in there, man. They're listening to hip hop. They're wearing Jordans. He's making like 150 while I wait for a haircut. I'm like, man, like this, and that was kind of the culture I always felt comfortable in, and so I decided to do it. And when I do remember the conversation I had with him. And I said, man, like, you think I could cut hair? And he said, man, look, I'll tell you this. Anybody can cut hair. Like, I think it's a skill that anybody can learn. Like, even if you're mediocre, like the cutting hair is
step by step.
It's not that difficult. Like the basics of it. But the beauty of it is you can go wherever you want to with it. And
There's no ceiling.
honestly, that might be the only real good gym that he gave me. But you know, that somewhere in that week, month, whatever, I decided to go. And I think I'm a testament to that. So I'm from a small town that is basic. I mean, old. I tell barbers this, and they don't even know what I mean. But like they use Oster 76s with vacuums attached to them.
Wow.
And like
Old school
still
joints.
2024, still
doing
using
In
that.
Kentucky.
And they just don't know. They ain't seen the B. Clark customs. They don't know about the FX1s. Like they don't know there's hair shows with 20,000 barbers at them. They don't even know. And so here I come from that kind of town and build up a shop, open my own shop that's totally new, appointments, flashy, got merch. We got 30 different merch pieces we've made over the year. Just every aspect of it. And that's just local. I've been able to employ some guys that were my clients. I just got a cousin that just went to barber school. Like, so it's just that, only that has absolutely changed my life. And then just stepping out and, you know, like, hopefully we'll get into this. Actually, I have a story I want to tell when we need to get to a point. But stepping out and meeting people, you know, I've met you guys slowly through this journey, and the opportunities have opened up. And so back to what my guy said is, you know, there's no ceiling. You can take it wherever, you know, it's up to you to take it. And so what I tell people is, you know, to answer your question specifically, if you're that person that's on the fence, you're looking for, like I said, I wish I could go back and remember what I was feeling that made me go for it. I think it's, if you're a self-driven person and you know, like, you just need that avenue, then you can really make something of it. But kind of like the COVID barbers, like, if you're just wanting to do it because it's cool, like, by all means, though, you can make a living. Like, so I think the beauty of barbering is, guess what? Those guys using the vacuum clippers are still making decent money. You know, barbers that cut hair make money. Like, like that's it. Like whether you're doing cool stuff or whatever. Like, and so there's so many avenues you can do equipment and do your thing. You know, like Illusion's one of the homies that's blown up crazy making capes. Like, so there's so many avenues that you can take with it. So I think for me, that's where, and I would say probably the similar with you guys is there's people that find an avenue like that and the sky is the limit. And I'm going to keep going because
the sky ain't the limit. There is no limit.
Yeah, there is no limit. But like, I'm a person, like we're opening a second shop right now and I've been like feeling stagnant for like a couple years and you could tell. And now, like, my dude the other day wrote me, bro, I can tell you're excited, bro. You making new signs, new merch. And I'm like, yeah, like, because that's what I need to thrive.
Yeah, fire to burn.
The Babyliss thing, like, I'm so hyped. One, to be around people like you and Sophie, and I know all you guys. And now I get to sit in the room. And, like, just even being here already, we've been here an hour. Like, I'm already like, yeah, this is, like, I'm hitting that next step that I was waiting to get to. So, you know, back to the question, yeah, if you're somebody thinking about it, you know, depending
bet on yourself,
who you are, yeah, you can go wherever you want. So if you're limited, I think that's where I was is I always tell them I got a manager that got fired and he turned down like Wendy's to go to Dunkin' Donuts. And I was like, dang, bro, like that might be me. He's like 45. I'm like, that's going to be me. Because that's like the life cycle in a restaurant. Like once they decide you're not hitting the numbers or whatever, you're out. And then what are you going to do? Yeah. I don't have a college degree like that. I went to auto body school, but like I don't have nothing I can go get that's a high salary. And so when I found out this, and like literally every other haircut you do is another 20 at the time. It was only 20 bucks, but like what? I'll stay all day. Like I will cut for 14 hours. So if you're that guy that can hold it down and do it yourself and run with it, then it's absolutely a path for you to succeed.
Yeah, you know, it's interesting to know that your level of success was really determined by the people around you, right?
No doubt.
You mentioned your father, how he kind of encouraged you to be more than working as a line cook or in fast food chain. You also mentioned your friend who said, hey, listen, why not become a barber? You know, there's no ceiling to how much money or the success you could have through this avenue. So I think that a lot of people, unfortunately, don't have direction when it comes to that.
They never hear that.
So a lot of people hold it. They hold their dreams. Sometimes it's better than to just like hold it and not express it to the world, because that negative feedback is really going to discourage somebody to take the next step forward. So the fact that you have been getting a lot of positive feedback from people that you love around you, bro.
That is true, bro. Because I'm sure DC, I don't know if you can relate. No, actually, I know you mentioned earlier that your family was really supportive. Not that my family wasn't, but you got to remember when I first started cutting hair, barbering wasn't what it was, right? So
not at all.
I didn't really get that positive feedback.
It wasn't when I started either.
Imagine.
What year you started, bro?
2014.
10 years ago, 2014, bro. I was already doing 20. I was already on my blueprint too.
Well, we'll talk about that.
So respectfully, you know what I mean?
No, yeah, we got to talk about that, by the way.
So I'm down. We'll talk about it right now. But it meant like I believed in me. It wasn't necessarily that I believed in barbering.
You gotta be in yourself.
I was just barbering was like how you said it was like, dude, if I cut this head as 20, you say 20, I was charging 12.
Yeah, 14.
15 with a lineup if you want a razor lining, right? So that was what I was charging. But it was just looked at like bro, you could do better. So what drove me was just me, because I always say this to a lot of people. I'm like, bro, I could have been a rock collector, and I would have been a beast ass rock collector. I still would have taken the knowledge to understand photography, so I could take photos of my badass rocks.
Sweet
I
rock.
would have done the research to understand what rocks are out there, so I know what's worth it, what's not. It doesn't matter what I would have done. It's who I am as a person, like you, who you are as a manager. If you have that drive, it doesn't matter what you do. Yeah. Cutting hair was just the gateway to get to that. It was the mission. So this is why I'll never abandon it, bro. Like, yeah, I may not want to cut hair behind a chair till I'm 90 and be on the news.
But you manifest in many different ways over that.
Facts. But I also want to be a part of the industry. Maybe just not cutting hair behind a chair all the time.
That's a good way to word it. We'll always be a part of the industry.
Right.
My clients are like, because I just went down to like 14 clients. They're like, do you think there's going to be a day you don't cut it all? I'm like, yeah, probably. You know, but I'm gonna still be around and have a shop and be at shows and who knows what. But
and you're probably just gonna cut way more people for free than you are for money, because that's what I do, bro. If I come across somebody that just looks good or got good hair or something that you know is gonna hit on the internet, I would rather cut your hair for free than try to get you to pay me whatever I'm charging, because to me it's gonna be more valuable to record you
for all the
other shit. Like that's where the value is gonna come. Yeah. And to him or her, they might be like, hell yeah, I get a free haircut by Los. So it works both ways, man. But all right, so you talked about a barbershop. How many barbers you got in your first barbershop?
So I make 14, so 13 others and myself.
And that's your barbershop?
Yeah.
You're a beast. How long have you been running that?
Going on 8 years, I guess.
26.
So you opened up a barbershop 2 years after you learned how to cut hair.
Yeah. So
and I take away your first year was probably your learning year. So what made you jump into a barbershop year number 2?
So, like I said, it's super old school town that I'm in, really across the board. Like everything is like that, right? So very old fashioned. We joked, we got a little diner burger spot that just started taking credit cards this week.
Oh, wow.
They wouldn't do it.
Apple Pay or credit cards?
Credit cards. Only cash until now, this week. And they just wouldn't do it. And then we joked like, hey, it's been working for 58 years, So that's where we're at, right? Like literally vacuum clippers, everything's red, white, and blue, checkered floors, like just that's barbering where we're at. Yeah. Like, and we're like the bigger city on that side of the state. Like,
what city is that?
Owensboro. So you probably heard of like Louisville is like Jack Harlow's from there. That's kind of our like new claim to fame. Yeah. Jennifer Lawrence, Muhammad Ali.
I love Jennifer Lawrence.
Muhammad Ali. Yeah, I think everybody does. But anyway, so where we were at, and I'll give you some credit because, and I want to get to this point. This is one of the things I wanted to talk about while we were here. But when I started was A-Rod and Marcus doing the Elegant Studio, and you were like involved. You were like around at least. Yeah. So then I see you and you're starting to like, that was the blueprint one, which I'm going to mention it here in a second. But so again, like people in town weren't even on Instagram. They weren't even like social media was Instagram was really taking off right then. Mm-hmm. So here I am in small town Kentucky. And again, I'm always the one that's going to do it as good as I can do it. And I'm going to do it my way. Like I'm not going to do it how everybody else's looks.
Right.
And so here I'm seeing like the Elegant Studio, and I'm like I've been to tattoo shops.
That shit was so fire.
Bro, I didn't grow up in tattoo shops, but I spent a lot of time in tattoo shops, and they got metal tool chests and graffiti. I used to do graffiti, like just draw it. Like I was an artist on that kind of sense. I love abstract art, like these B. Clark custom stuff is tough. So I'm seeing the Elegant Studio, I'm seeing the designs you're doing, and I'm like,
kind of open up your eyes a little
like,
more, right?
And the shop I was in was like walk-ins. $14, $10 student cuts. Well, who all the students want to cut their hair? Once I got started,
wow.
Everybody, because they were doing. My shop owner used to do what's it called? South of France, the Usher haircut.
Oh my god!
With only a 1.5 blade the whole side, and I'm like, bro, that's not what it is. Like you got to do a fade. So he was from Scottsville, Kentucky, so we call it the South of Scottsville. So that's where I was at, and so I'm watching you guys on social media, and I'm like, at least attempting to do it. I'll show you something. You remember the 4 a.m. fade that Famous
did? Yeah.
I tried it on one of my barbers I have now. It was so bad, but like it was so much cooler than what anybody was doing. So I blew up quick. Everybody would come and then tell all their friends, and I got super busy. So I go to my boss and I'm like, hey man, I need to do appointments or something. I'm here like five appointments after close every day. Like people are waiting, and I'm the type, I'm not going to tell you to go away, especially if you've been
It's money coming in. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm new, so I'm like tearing it up. But I'm like, he probably started seeing other barbers were doing appointments because again, like that's a new thing, right? Like appointments,
Yeah.
COVID really pushed appointments.
Yeah.
So he's like, no, you can't do appointments, and I'm like, dang, like man, I got a life, bro. I mean, I didn't really looking back, I didn't have a life,
But you felt like, damn,
I'm like,
you know,
bro, I'm not trying to be here till 8 p.m. every night. So, well, can I raise my prices so I can cut some of this people out? Like, no, you got to charge the shop price. And there was more. He didn't want me to do I tried to say, yo, let me run a Facebook page and Instagram and give me like 50 off booth rent. Nah, he didn't see the importance. Kind of like the cash only, no credit cards, right? So I realized and I like, that's why I want to tell you that I looked up to you guys big time when I got into it.
Hell yeah.
Because I quickly could see who was like elevating and being creative and like I wanted to do. And so I'm like, yo, this ain't gonna work. Like this shop was old, wood paneling on the walls, a mural on the wall that looked like a kid's bedroom, and like dust on everything. It was a sports place, so there was old helmets and jerseys, and they were dusty. Like, bro, this is the best shop in town for me to work at, and it's good. They're still killing it. It looks a lot like my current shop now. It's been remodeled, but anyway, so I had to leave, and so I had a couple friends, same type of thing. They came to me like, man, you think I could cut hair? And I told them the same thing. Yeah, man, you can cut hair. It's like, are you going to show up? Are you going to work harder? Are you going to learn? Like that's what it depends on.
Yeah.
And so they ended up doing it. Like they saw me, I was crushing it, bro. I mean, I'm making like triple what I was making.
Doing your own thing,
bro. Like at the shop still, my first shop. I'm like, I'm going in there making $400 or $500 a day, just cutting all day and getting everybody young knew the comb over was popping, the shaved. I could do it with my eyes closed. If people saw it, where'd you get that? And if you wanted that haircut, you got to go to Sean.
It's a small town.
I just hit a ceiling there, and I was like, I got to get out. My guys were like, I think I'm gonna go to barber school. I think it was like 3 of them. So they were like, well, where are we gonna work when we get out of school? And I was like, I tell you what, I don't know how to do it, but y'all got 10 months of school or more, and I'll have a shop by the time you get out. And we did.
You stuck to it,
man.
What do you call it? Clutch?
Clutch, yeah.
Man, I love that. Just Clutch Barbershop or Clutch?
Just Clutch, really. I wanted like a brand that wasn't
so like, that anyone could wear. It doesn't have to be.
Yeah, I mean, like, and I called it Clutch because like being Clutch is.
That's Ricky Clutch, right here.
Clutch is Clutch.
Ricky
yeah,
Clutch
like so that's what it was, and I wanted like a brand like, and I'm not saying I'm Nike, but like you don't have to call it Nike shoes. It's
Nike. It's for Apple.
It's
you don't have
Apple. So that was kind of the idea there, and it's grown crazy and provide more jobs and
amazing.
It's booming. I mean, I think we're the biggest shop in town.
You know what? That's crazy because I've gotten in my career, so many people complain about how they live in small cities or non-relevant cities, that they always want to move to bigger cities. But I've always told people, like, why would you want to jump into a more saturated area where there's going to be way more competition, especially if you're not even from there? Why not use the small city you're in and you be the person that changes that small city? You know what I mean? And I think that's exactly what you did.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, I mean, do you think or do you see that once you went that route and you kind of elevated your town, were there people around you that saw the progress and say, damn, that shit's working, let's all elevate? Or do you still think it's just you killing the game in your town?
I think it has caused other people to elevate. I like some opinions from over here. They would probably agree. And you know, I hate to even say it like this, but I'll just keep it real. Like, there's definitely been some like, oh, he's got tool chest, we're gonna get tool chest. You know, I mean, it's got to be what it was, right? They never saw it before that, so a lot of emulation, kind of. I mean, you talked about we already mentioned it earlier. You know, imitation is the greatest form of flattery. I saw this today. The whole quote is that mediocrity can pay to the great, or something like that. And I'm like, ooh. So anyway, it's like take like, I appreciate the fact that they want to replicate what I'm doing. So definitely there's been some, you know, I think we just brought new and they saw it. Same way I saw you guys. Like, but I'll sit here and give you credit that I saw the style and I took things from my life and made my own, but definitely has elevated some, and you still have those old shops that are just, that's what they do, right? Like, this is how we do it.
It's just a job today.
Yeah, it's cool. So we still have that, but there's definitely like 4 or 5 other shops that are doing appointments and they try to do some merch and they're selling statement and they're using Babyliss. And so they're with the times, and these are younger people. Like, now we have a barber school, so it's increasing. But I would have to say that we definitely brought that.
What would you think and this goes for both of you guys. DC, I would love your answer too, because you guys are both. Sean, currently a barber. DC, I know you're not a barber anymore, but you come from a barbering background. You used to go here. What do you think? Because I've also experienced this too. But what do you think for people wondering? Because there's people. One thing that I forget is that there's people every day that watch our content that are literally behind the chair all day, every day, like we used to be. So they live a different world than what we live a different world.
Couldn't do it.
So, so what do you think is the biggest difference from how you're in the industry today, doing what you're doing, compared to someone working 6 days a week, the way you were when you were just grinding to make money, working with your clients day to day? How would you compare the two?
I mean, I think for me, again, it's kind of like certain people, my dad does counseling, right? And he has his thing's called temperament. So it's about basically these traits that make the three of us different sitting here, the guys over here sitting here. And so like, if you are the people that love the no ceiling and are self-starters, you can go places like we've done and make your own brands and things. But there's people that, like I said, somebody got to be a restaurant manager. Somebody got to be a barber in the shop 6 days a week.
Somebody got a $20 barber.
Yeah, and that's something that some people will do forever, and they're good with it. And that's something that would probably be driving us nuts if we were still doing it, So I think there's a place for somebody's got to be in the shop cutting hair, so I can be here sitting here not cutting hair. You know what I mean? So yeah, I think it balances out. But
how about you,
I
DC?
agree, man. I think that being a maverick is definitely an inherent thing that somebody could be born with. But again, it always takes those little key experiences in life to really understand that which direction you want to take it. So me personally, I was always surrounded by a lot of positive people who I could learn from. I grew up in a very diverse community in the Bronx, and we didn't have much. So we were always being very innovative and intuitive, creating things that we needed. For example, I remember when I was a kid one time, and I'm just giving you my own little spin on being an entrepreneur, because I used to cut hair. I started off cutting hair in 2008, and I worked it all the way through. And in 2016, that's when I started developing the whole company with the mobile products and everything else like that. But prior to that, when I used to work in the barbershop, I had employees with me who weren't really determined or focused at all, and they were old school. They were like 10, 15 years older than me. So
Wow. And how old were you at the time?
at that time, I was about 18.
Okay.
Right.
Young buck.
Right.
Okay.
So I think that's something that we share as well, because we were put in situations where we were kind of coming in with our own little energy.
A little different than what they, yeah.
Right. Fortunately, because we are social media babies. We're the internet generation.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I said to say that if you don't really, because some people adapt, but a lot of people tend to stay there. But for those that really adapt and kind of like take that and rework it so it could be like towards your benefit, for example, you open up a shop, you're providing a lot of jobs for your whole community. And being a maverick, you were really able to kind of take, because you started off as a line cook, right? Yeah. You were saying earlier.
Busboy.
A busboy at that.
Busboy.
15, bussing tables.
So I'm still interested to know, how were you able, I know we're still trying to remember how you made that transition from being in that type of industry into the hair industry. So what's really interesting for me to know is, what actually had you take that step forward?
I think it was like we talked about, having people in your corner that was, for one, like the barber I went to that showed me there was this possibility, or having somebody like my dad, and Lo said something about not having as much support. They actually questioned the barber move, because they look at barbers like what all the barbers were that were around, no insurance. They do this
Right.
until they're 90 because they have to. They have no retirement. Mm-hmm. And so I don't know, honestly. I think just deep down somewhere I knew there had to be more, and I, like you said, like, I didn't necessarily like come from too bad of a situation, but you said, like, you created things you needed. Mm-hmm. I've always been the one to just get my hands on something and figure it out. Like, my guys can tell you, like, we're opening a new shop. I'm making I built a website with a website. I've never built a website. I use like a builder, but like, it looks dope. And then it's like, well, we need a new scheduling software. So I found one and I integrated it to the website and set it all up. Never seen it before. Figured it all out. Now I'm building an app that's going to load the schedule. Like, I've just always been that person to figure it out. So I think certain times in those, even in the restaurant, once I learned it and got good, and then it was
You get
like,
creative with
all
it.
right, but it's like, I got to keep going to the next step. So I think ultimately, like I said, I don't remember exactly, but I would have to say that I was at a point where I felt like this is it, kind of like I've worked to be a manager twice.
Yeah.
That's a story for another day, but I worked 12 years at Texas Roadhouse and got fired.
Yeah.
The worst feeling.
And so I had to start as a cook again at $9 an hour. I was on a salary position and had to go be a cook again for $9 an hour and quickly work my way back up. And I think that situation was like, man, like this is, I'm going to do this over and over.
It's a learning lesson.
And it's always going to be on someone else's terms.
Yeah.
And that's what sucks, bro. I mean, those are both good answers, man. I just wanted to see if you guys could shine light for people watching that, because look, man, and I always say this, right? Sure, there's a few people there that could sit here and argue the point. Oh, I don't mind cutting hair. I love cutting hair. I'll cut hair forever. Great, but I think a majority of people don't want to cut hair forever, and I think a majority of people don't like to cut hair and feel like a slave behind a chair. I don't think I could ever stop cutting hair, but one thing I could never do again is cut hair for 12 hours a day straight. No. My clients now, bro, because I work 3 days a week if I'm in town, and I'll cut 4 or 5 people per day, maybe sometimes 2 people a day. It doesn't matter, but that balance is just enough to keep me sharp, to keep me still grounded, talking to my clients, being at service. You know what I mean? I don't think I ever want to let it go, but I also enjoy, and I enjoy doing everything else that I'm doing. But I do tell people, like, I do get a lot of barbers that'll sit here and talk to me, and I'm sure you guys do too in a sense. And everyone usually drops lines like, man, you know, how do I get to where you're at? I want to get to this, I want to get to that. And I always tell people, like, just be aware, because if you're not a barber that's already got their shit together behind a chair, then you could never be where I'm at. Because if you can't even do that, if you can't even get to the shop on time, if you can't even run your own client's operation or that little empire behind the chair, if you can't do that, then what makes you think you're going to build a website, build a shop, build a legacy, build a channel, no, that takes so much more work. So I just tell people all the time, like, just be prepared. Because if you're truly a go-getter, you wouldn't be asking me that question. You would just be figuring it out yourself.
I think it's hunger, man. And I think it's the adrenaline of moving things forward. Like, I think we can both relate to that, right? Because you build the barbershop. And for me personally, it was always the fear of not meeting my own expectations. I constantly had to put myself in a position where I had to win. I had a winner, because that's a true reflection of who I am as a person. And by being a winner for me, I was able to allow the people that I love around me to also be winners. And for people who don't have that point of reference, it's kind of hard for them to really just get the ball rolling on that. But once, you know, a body motion stays in motion. That's why I always say.
Yeah.
So
Facts.
that's basically what it is. You know, I think it's just the adrenaline. I think there's plenty of times where you had to solve things or figure things out at a whim.
All the time.
You got to do it. And, you know, as the leader, you got to take control of that. And you got to maintain your composure and actually have see-through to what you're doing.
Yeah, you have to have a vision, bro. How do you know where you're going if you don't know where you're going? You know what I mean? Like, right. I think people are just stuck in the routine. But we're here, and the reason why you guys are all here is because we have an event tomorrow, the release date for your bag. And I'm glad you brought it, Sean. I really am, because it's a dope color. The color grade on it, the black and green, is fire. I need to know, obviously I could see the Clutch logo. They got green on it, so I can probably bet that that's probably why. Is there a significant meaning behind the green? And for anyone watching that's just curious and to be like, yo, what if I want my own GMB Pro collab? Like, how did that go about?
It's a beautiful bag, bro.
Yeah, no,
it's a gorgeous bag. I'm almost a little upset that it looks a little nicer than my bag.
It's one of my favorite bags.
But yeah, what does it take to get a damn collab with GMB Pro for someone like you, Sean? Why the green? And talk to us about your experience with that. Now that you got DC in the mix, how did you guys meet?
So honestly, I don't remember exactly how it went down, but
you just woke up one day, we had a collab coming.
Yeah, no,
that's our relationship, bro.
Yeah, no, the initial time though, you know, I had started really. I did a couple.
What year was this, bro? Like 2021 or so when we first linked up?
At least probably then. Maybe before.
So you hear that, man? 3 years in the making.
Yeah, I can show you. I mean, I can pull up the first video I did of a bag, but I don't remember how we got there.
That was the best review I ever had in my life. Bro.
His?
He was the first person I ever worked with.
I was about to ask. What do you mean? Like first,
like in that platform?
Yeah, I think what happened was I started doing reviews, and that started becoming a thing that was doing well for me. So I'm like, shoot, I got to get.
You were the Keith of of hair supply.
Who's Keith?
You know who Keith is? I think the guy that goes all over Las Vegas trying restaurants, the black dude. He's always on TikTok review. He's always reviewing the food. So I was saying you were.
That was me.
You know what I'm talking about? Am I
He'd be
tripping?
mad stiff or
Yeah, he'd be sitting like.
Yeah.
Do you guys know what I'm talking about? All right, so
So I started doing reviews, and funny enough, I did the Black Low Pro way back. Dennis calls.
Damn.
Dennis calls.
well, you did it before Dennis called, or Dennis called first?
I did it first.
Nice.
I saw him at a show. Somebody I knew. I was like, hey, I need those. How do I get them? I messaged this guy Dennis and tell him you do YouTube reviews and see if he'll hook you up. It was Herb and Gino. And so Dennis sent him to
Shout out to Herb, Gino's, my
Yeah.
brothers.
Okay,
yeah, those are the
Gino
homies.
Babyliss.
So I do that video. Dennis reaches out. Yo, your video did 50K. Like at YouTube at the time, I think Sophie posted it, and she had just started YouTube. So I'm like, this guy got pulled on YouTube. Like, we're gonna start sending you some stuff. So I think people started watching my channel, and people when you're tight with your channel, and I respond to them all, and I try to give them the haircuts that they want to see, and people were saying like, yo, review the GMB backpack. And I wasn't like, man, I probably had 10,000 subscribers. It wasn't big. And I think I just hit him up and was like, yo, listen, I do YouTube. People are hitting me up asking me to review your bag. I do travel as well. And he sent me a bag and I did a video. And then that's just how it started. So
Literally.
I think you did a discount code. And I'm pretty sure like 2 days later, you were like, yo, I turned it off because I have to pay you too much money.
I didn't even know what a discount code was, bro.
Yeah.
So ironically enough, it's a funny conversation because me and Sean never really had this conversation before. So it's funny right now.
He said, I can't afford it no more, bro.
Seriously.
But I'll tell you this, right? When we first met, that's when I first started the whole business with the backpacks. And that bag that you got, shout out to Andy Authentic, was a collection.
Shout out to Andy.
That's right.
He was my first influencer collaborator that we made a bag together. And it was this kid, came out of nowhere, right? Sean Cuts Hair on Instagram. And then he asked me for a bag or something like that at that point. I don't know how, but I sent it to you right away. Next thing I know, I see Sean he made a dope ass review video for me. I ran the crap out of that on my ads, bro. I was
He
like,
dropped
Sean,
some money on that shit.
And that's the first, like, my guys are like, yo, you're on his
everywhere.
Instagram.
everywhere.
It's
everywhere.
popping up. Every
But
barber
at that
seeing
time,
it.
I was still trying to figure things out because I didn't know what I was doing. I was just trying to figure out along the way.
See what works.
You were the first one that ever told me about a discount code. So when he told me, can we have a discount code so we could give the audience something? I said, oh, yeah, that's cool. We could give them 10% off, something like that. I didn't know it was going to be 10% off for the audience and then 10% off for Sean, too, for the ones that use the discount codes.
Like his cut.
At that time, I didn't have a program. I wasn't organized at all. So then when he said that, he brought me so much traffic to my website, yo, that people started buying my bags. And to this day, believe it or not, Sean is my #1 influencer on
Bro, that's what it's all
on the
about,
influencer
bro.
thing.
Hell yeah.
So yeah, like that he's like, hey, I got this new drop coming. Like naturally, like I'll take the bag. I appreciate it. It gives them some traffic. Like it's cool. Like that's how things work. Like I got this new bag. I'm gonna send it to you.
But it was always easy to work with him. Though,
yeah.
right?
No problem, man. I'll do a video. I'm always honest about it. Like I'll say if there's something I don't love about it or the color or whatever. But I'm always like polite about it. I don't.
Yeah, you're not there to diss.
Yeah, I don't just diss stuff, but I'll say like, hey, you might like this tan color. It's not really my style, but or the leather. Like leather's not my style, but people love it. So and so yeah, I mean we did the next colorway, and then you sent me the rolling big bag, and I did that, and I mean pretty much everything you've put out.
So then I organized myself.
It takes time,
I
bro.
organized myself,
no
and I
doubt.
ended up creating the affiliate marketing. We did activate it again.
pretty
and all that
early.
stuff.
Yeah.
And I remember I created a bag. I felt so bad over that. Generally, as a person, I felt bad because deep down it was just me trying to really understand the whole world of
Sales,
marketing and
yeah.
ads and stuff like that. So I said, all right, man, I'm gonna hook my boy up, man. This guy did good for me. He made a great video. He's always speaking positive, putting me on to different people. And I generally like your flow, bro, and the quality of time that you take in really creating your videos. Because it takes a lot of time to really put that together, man. Like record and all that stuff. So props to you, bro, for constantly doing it on a consistent basis.
4 years, no misses.
Consistently.
You post every what?
Twice a week for 4 years.
You're a beast.
Yeah. So I ended up feeling so bad over it that I said, I'm going to hook my boy Sean up. I think it was around Christmas or so. I said, Sean, I got a surprise for you, bro. And I called him.
I remember you said, can you FaceTime me? And I'm like, yeah.
FaceTime? I was excited like a little kid, bro. Because that was the first time that I ended up like putting a print on the bag itself. Because again, I'm trying to figure it out with different materials, different fabrics, and making the product better over time. and I made him a special edition. What was it? All black with the
All black with the neon
Yo,
yellow.
there you
My
go.
shop colors.
It was crazy though because it was like a pure manifestation of what's happening today. You know what I mean? So things always
It was
come
kind
back.
of my bag, my
It
own
was his
bag. It
own
was a
bag.
one-off with my shop logo on it, which was at the time that was the only people I was really working with. I wasn't really with
Right.
Toom yet. I wasn't really like I was kind of there but not official, and so it was like that was kind of my influencer edition bag first.
The
That's
first one that
sick.
we
It's still hanging on my wall. Yeah, I still got
Yeah.
it. I got all three. I got the gray,
all
Andy
lined up.
Authentic, and the other one, and now this one on top. So it's kind of like
Beast.
it's a
Yeah.
timeline. You
So,
know what
dude,
I'm
all
saying?
right. So, this is crazy, bro. Because for someone who's only been in the industry for 10 years, you're now a part of Babyliss. You are opening your second location. You are affiliated with GMB Pro. You got your own book bag. You are with Tomb 45, now the OP 45, which is what's coming soon, and I'm also part of that as well. So shout out to Josh, Basio, all that, and I mean, dude, if you're not the proven concept of it could be done, I don't know what is. You know,
And from a small town, right?
and from
they can.
what is it again? Kentucky.
Owensboro, Kentucky.
Owensboro,
50
Kentucky.
First, I was today
50,000.
years old when I first heard of Owens,
doubt it.
Owensboro. So my point is like, bro, come on, you had everything against you, and you did it all in 10 years. And when I tell, like, don't get me wrong, am I proud to sit here and tell people sometimes I've been doing hair for 24 years? Yeah, but sometimes I'm almost like not ashamed, but I see people do far more in less time. And then I'm like, well, you got to understand, I have resources for
No, that's exactly
12 of those years.
That's exactly.
I didn't have social media, but I was putting that grind. But it makes me happy when I see someone like you put in that work, because look what happens, bro. And I think there's people out there that do feel like they would put a year in and they deserve this, they deserve that, or they think they could just send a message and be a part of something. But I'm curious to know, like, well, how did you get involved with Tomb 45? Because when I first heard about you, so what's crazy is I've always heard of the name Sean Cutter. I always came across, I'm very horrible with names and putting faces together until I meet you, and you impacted me in a way where I could remember you. But other than that, I heard the name Sean Cutter, and I knew you were always Tomb 45. I think one of my boys that put me on the most was JC the barber. JC cut it. He's my guy.
Camera guy.
He's the one that he will always hype you up and boss you up. And I love when people hype people up, because there's a reason why they look up to you.
Yeah.
It's not just like, oh, this guy is this. No, there's a reason why. So I look into it. And then I got to truly have a real conversation with you in Dallas when we were right before you filming for the plug. And you were on the plug, bro. Like, you feel me, bro? Like, you're doing a lot of things, and it's all coming so quick.
Oh, this past year, that's what my post, the Babyliss announcement was like. Yo,
2023 had to be
got
big.
Crazy, man. It just got crazy.
2023 had to be crazy for you, bro.
Absolutely.
Because now you're on the podcast. You know, you'll have this
All
story
of it.
forever, bro.
All of it.
And I know that feeling, bro. And I think what I tell people all the time is like, take it in, enjoy it. Like, this is the journey, the ride is where it's at. It's not the goal. The goal is to stop. You know, it's what did you do to get there? Those nights that you've probably been up editing all late, researching how to open up. That's where the fuck it's at.
Still do.
Oh, it's same, right? So that's so dope, man, and I'm so happy to see it. But tell us about your Tomb 45 journey. Like, what is your role in that? How are you a part of it? What is it that you do for them? And then, yeah, I'm just curious, man.
Yeah, so this is obviously like, if I'm doing Tomb 45 stuff, this is always the question. Same stuff, like, how do I get where you're at, you know? And so my answer to everybody is always like, man, I just kept showing up. Like, I kept coming around. I was paying my way to go to shows.
There you go.
The same way that I kept showing up with you, and we kept a relationship. And I've seen you 30 times now, and now we're sitting. You know, you just keep showing up, and it goes with anything. Like, I'm not a gym guy, but if you don't go consistently, you don't get buff or lose weight or whatever. So I just kind of treated it like that. So Tomb 45 specifically, you know, I started watching Basio. I watched 4 of his haircuts before I did my first haircut ever 10 years ago.
Wow.
And then
Shout out to Basio.
yeah, no doubt. And so he was really my inspiration for, like, I liked how he cut his haircut styles. He was really working hard at stuff. And I was like, all right, like, he was kind of showing me what was possible, and he was early on his career. And so then the team kind of came about, and I see them going to shows. And funny, my barber school teacher he was old. He's like 86 now. So 10 years ago, he's like 76, old guy. But he had been a platform artist at some point in his career. And I remember, like, thinking that sounded awesome. I love teaching. So then Bossio and Tomb starts. That's what they're doing. Like
Platform.
they make a product. They're going out there educating. He's educating on YouTube, and I'm like, yeah, like again, like I found some inspiration that seemed like kind of a direction I would love to go.
Right.
You seek and you find, right?
Yeah. So I can't tell you the exact order, but I went to CT the year they launched Tomb 45. I went to the booth. I still got a picture with Bossio. I had a clutch yellow mohawk, all dyed, all of it,
What?
bro.
You
Crazy.
gotta pull that up here.
Yeah, I'll send it to you,
All right, send that,
bro. So I got a picture there, and so he probably left and didn't, like you said, you're bad with names. It takes a certain moment before you really,
because we come across so many people. Bro.
too many people.
Yeah.
So
That's only fair.
So I left there, and I don't remember exactly, but they came and did a class 2 hours from me in Kentucky, and a local guy wanted to go, and he's like, "Yo, will you be my model?" I'm like, "Hell yeah, I'll go for free and get to sit in that joint."
Fuck yeah.
So we went, and they saw me again, and he's like, "Hey, we saw you at CT or something, right?" I'm like, "Yeah," and sitting there, we're sitting like this, right, and I'm like, Bossio, bro, you looking rough. Like, you didn't get a haircut. Like, still to this day, if I'm coming here to do this, I'm gonna have a haircut when I get
One of Bossio's freshest cuts was on your page that I've seen. You posted them. I was like,
well, appreciate it.
damn. But go ahead, carry on.
So yeah, so I
was that from there or not?
No,
Okay.
no, I can show you that one too. But and this is probably like 5 years ago. So we're sitting there, and I'm like, bro, you don't be going getting a fresh cut before every class. And he's like, man, we're doing 2 a weekend. And we had like an hour before the night session. I was like, oh, I'll cut you right now. Bro, I'm like 5 years in, like I'm decent, but like I didn't think he was gonna say yes. He's got the new cordless Wall Seniors just came out. I hadn't even used the cordless clipper yet.
Wow.
I didn't have my tools because I was a model. So he said yes. So I cut his hair. And again, like that's just a close, like he has a better chance of remembering me than anybody else at that class. Mm-hmm. And so I just kept coming around, long story short. And so CT 2019, I had been a few times, and I just loved watching those guys on stage, coming to see you guys on stage. I'm like, I got to get up there, man. Damn. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to buy my own booth. We're going to bring T-shirts. We brought 30 clutch T-shirts.
At the CT.
At CT 2019. And when I called, I did it early. I had a plan, man.
Didn't you send me an old school
You have my
photo
first,
of me?
yeah.
You sent that to me, right?
Yeah, oh yeah.
I was rocking the shit out of that. I'll post that up too. I was rocking the shit.
I'll send you all this stuff.
And it's crazy because how long ago was that, bro? 16, 17, 18?
That was like my first year on my own shop, probably. No, that was at the first shop I was
I love
at.
that shit.
That was
bro.
like 2015.
That's fire.
So yeah, I just keep coming around. 2019, I buy a booth. These guys were all, well, not all of them, but a couple of them that are here were there. 9 of my shop went. We got a backdrop. We had 20 shirts and a table and one of the not a barber chair, like the fold-out chair.
Yeah.
The ones they give you at the booth. Not a fold-out, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
And we cut hair. And when I called them, they were like, oh, where do you want to be? We'll send you the floor plan. The one behind 245 was open. I'm like,
let me take that.
Right there. Mm-hmm. So I go, the power mat drops. The big charging mat.
Damn.
Bro,
only the first time they dropped it?
That's when they dropped it.
I remember
only 5 fit in a box this big, and they brought like 1,000. So they remember me. They're like, hey, dude, is this all you got? 30 T-shirts? I'm like, yeah, why, what's up? They're like, can we move this curtain back like 4 feet and store all the power mats over here? Yeah, no problem. We're not using that. So, I'm around, leads to more conversation.
They were literally behind you?
Right, other side of the net. Yeah.
Nice.
Right.
Other side of the little backdrop.
Well played.
They were on the end, right inside the front door, and I was right behind them.
So they asked you to hold up.
Yeah, like Dre comes over.
They took some of your real estate.
Yeah, they're like, hey, man, like we hate to ask, but yeah, no problem. And that's always how I've been anyway. So they store stuff over there. That means they're coming in and out of the booth. And Dre comes over and he's like, yo. Like,
Dre who? Dre Clipperhands?
No, Dre that works with Tomb is kind of the behind the scenes guy. Yeah. So he comes over and he's like, he knows me. We talked at the class and stuff. And he's like, hey, man, like, let me ask, like, why'd you get a booth? Mm-hmm. I was like, because it's like $1,500. You know what I mean? Like,
you bought 30 shirts.
Just footed the bill. Yeah, brought 30. Didn't sell none of them either, probably. We sold about 3. But I'm like, yo, to be honest, man, like I just wanted to cut on stage. Like this ain't even on stage, but being behind the booth, being behind the booth is different than walking around being in front of the booth. Mm-hmm. And it was already. People were coming up. Yo, where you guys out of? And he's like, dang, man, like you should have just asked. And I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, you could have cut on the Tomb stage. And at the time, they're hot. Like
they're still hot.
They are still hot, but like this is the come up.
Prime,
this is
like, peak up,
Power Mat was one of the biggest drops we ever did. I say I wasn't with him yet, but it was huge. I anticipated like Bossio was going heavy at cutting hair. Like now he doesn't cut as much hair. So like when he cut on stage, it was like 200 people packed right there. It was booming. So he's like, you should have just asked. And I'm like what? Like thinking like there wouldn't even have been a chance. So we go back to the booth and he comes over an hour later and he's like, yo, you're up. And I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, on stage when he's done. And I'm like, another moment where I'm like, I asked for it.
Yeah, you gotta fucking, you gotta deliver.
Yeah, so I got up there and I got, dude, this is what's so cool. You know, we talked about recording stuff. Man, I got a vlog from that trip. You can see him putting stuff in the booth, all this stuff. But so I got up there and cut, scared to death. First time I ever had a mic on in front of people.
Damn.
CT. A lot of people around, nobody watching me, nobody knew who I was, but I remember I said, hey, how's everybody doing? And nobody really reacted. And I cut the whole rest of the head without saying a word. But
Yo, that's the worst, bro.
So I had come up with my enhancement card, my stencil for doing enhancements, because that's a Tomb 45 product, and I was using all their stuff. And I'm like, yo, why are we using business cards for that? For one, the C cup is not square.
Oh, that's interesting. I didn't know you came up with that, bro.
Why, as a business person, whether a business card costs a penny or not,
why would you use
wasting them and throwing them in the trash? Like, there has to be a better way. And I started looking and there wasn't. So I had cut 5 of them out of a 5-star notebook cover. I went and bought like 4 or 5-star notebooks. The plastic flimsy cover, like it's firm enough, but it's like bendy.
Of course.
Cut them joints out by hand. Texted one of my dudes, I think it was Dre probably, like, yo, you got any small Tomb 45 stickers? He's like, yeah. Sends them to me. Put a Tomb 45 sticker on it. And I pull Bean, and Jeezy was there. Jeezy was kind of like a little bit affiliated at the time. And Basio and whoever. And I pull him to the side in our booth. I got footage of that. Super cool. I'm like, hey, man, look, I'm a nobody. But I came up with this thing. And I really respect y'all. And I love everything you guys do. And I would be honored if you think it's a valuable piece to give it to you, and you guys can make it. If you want to put my name on it too, if you want to give me $1, whatever. But like, if I make it, realistically, it's gonna cost a lot because I ain't got like
time, all that
time. And I posted, I might sell like 20.
Yeah.
Like I had like 1,400 followers, So, and I don't remember exactly how it went down. They were like, "Oh, that's cool. We'll try it out or whatever." And then Danny, who's the kind of the business side of Tomb, he comes from the corporate world. He pulled me aside and he was like, So who are you? And, what are you doing here? And I was like, oh, because I'm on stage, He's like, who is this guy? And so I kind of tell him the quick story, and I'm like, yeah, man, I want to travel and educate. Like, that's been my goal. So I bought a booth, and then Dre told me to cut, and he's like, all right, listen, if you really want to do this, we'll be in Orlando next weekend. You show up, we'll get you some gear. You can work the booth, you can cut again if you're really about it. And I'm at the point, like, I'm just a barber at this point. I just paid $1,500 for a booth. I just paid for a flight to CT, which is not cheap because it's like the worst. There's no big airports and like
that's right.
It's a couple weird, flights and whatever. So I'm like, dang, like I really don't got the money, but I gotta go. So I charged it the whole trip, and I went, and that was it, man. Like I showed up, and then I just kept coming. I paid my own way until kind of early 2023. They started covering some stuff, but I paid my own way. I mean, thousands of dollars, flights, hotels, sleeping on the floor if they offered. I mean, whatever it was. And did whatever crap they needed me to do until I got the cut, and then that just grew. Basio stepped away to the business stuff a lot more and things like that, and so like kind of literally there was like an opening for somebody that wanted to teach the haircutting part, and me coming up with them, learning from him on YouTube, and then working with everybody on the team. You get similar, like-minded, and you cut similar, and everybody's unique, but so I just fit. And they called me during COVID, actually, during the shutdown, and I kept posting content. So again, showing up. I was sitting in my shop. All right, guys, this is how you sitting the whole camera straight on at the time, like 20 minutes of me. This is how you open a barbershop. But I kept posting, and they called and they said, hey, man, like, we saw your consistency. We want somebody to assist us with the academy, be like an official educator with us, and we see your consistency. So Dre's like, I told Basio, like, Sean don't miss. Like, he said he's going to post twice a week. He don't miss. Even through the pandemic, he can't even cut hair. I let my wife cut my hair. I cut my own hair for the first time. Like, I made it happen. And they're like, your consistency tells us that you're the guy for the job. And so that, like, then that gave me the platform to go to bigger, like, all the shows, even if I was paying my way. And then I'm on stage more. And, it just created more relationships. It just grew. And really, those guys' relationships grew. And so, I got introduced to Dennis, and that was a slow roll. I got to know you better. And then, Sophie was at something I was at. And, it's just how it grows as everybody levels up. new people kind of come into the horizon, and you just start to build relationships. And then now I'm sitting here like lead educator for them. Josh OP, oh, we're gonna merge. Since you're our lead educator, you get to teach for Josh. I'm like, what? Like, I took his class 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Like, how do I get to walk into that? Like, so it just fell in my lap, man. So it's nuts.
I mean, I don't think it fell in your lap. I think you worked for that opportunity, because some opportunities are gonna present themselves. Some other opportunities you gotta go get. So, and sometimes you get 2 in 1. You put in that work and you get 2 blessings instead of 1. That was right
one
there.
of those.
That's wild, bro. And I mean, all I hear is straight work, bro. You put in the work. That's it. Nothing landed by you just being on the internet, watching people hating, trolling. It all came in by just putting in that work, man. So I got a question for y'all, because I don't know if you guys know or not. I just dropped a video a few days, 3-4 days ago, maybe a week ago. I'm not sure. I was sitting on it for a whole week, bro. I was contemplating, because you've been following me for how long, Sean? If you had to put a number on.
A long time. 10 years.
So you've been following me for 10 years.
I mean, pretty early on, 9.5 at worst.
You know that I'm not a controversial barber. I've never been somebody that wants to sit here and argue with people or get into, like, you'll never see me, like, I'm a very, especially representing companies, I got to keep it professional. So I stay away from being controversial, but it's been pissing me off lately, these damn celebrities, these damn athletes, these people, these everyday people that just downgrade and just, they trash our industry and they trash our craft. So I ended up posting a video, bro, that I surprisingly went viral. I sat on it for a week because I didn't know if I wanted to share it and it was gonna backfire and people are gonna react different.
Yeah.
But after a few days of like just saying, you know what, man, I had a moment that I was like, I don't care what anyone thinks. I'm gonna share my piece. And I put it out there and I was like, oh, and I remember I don't have any of my notifications on. So I remember just posting and just
forgot about it.
Walking away,
That's
bro.
what we're about to do after this with
walking
a
away.
post. But
so when I finally got in, like, 20, 30 minutes later, it was popping off, bro. And it's still popping off. And it got me a lot of views. And I think it made me feel good because I feel like I spoke for a lot of people that one, don't have a voice or don't have the reach. And one of the main reasons that it got to me, bro, and why I posted it was because there's so many people doing so well in this industry today, and none of them, to my knowledge, have spoke up about all that shit going on. Now, yeah, of course, you can argue the fact that who cares what they think, bro? Worry about you, worry about true. But at the end of the day, it's like, no, there's also, why wouldn't you want to educate everyday people or educate these athletes on why would they rather go do this and spend all this money on this when you can have this and spend money on that, or value your people's work or value this and value that? So how did you feel about that, if you saw it, man?
Yeah, I like it. I think I saw one of the posts. You're probably talking about somebody saying it. I think it was a dude talking about, like, I don't know why barbers think haircuts aren't $20 anymore and whatever. Like, they're out here charging $100, whatever. And, I charge $75 for my clients. I just went up to, and I got some clients that'll pay it. Do I think everybody should come pay me $75? No. Like, so I think, again, like, there's we call it, like, there's wine and dine barbers and there's McDonald's barbers. Like, there's clients for everybody. So, like, people just, we were talking earlier at the table about the whole Babyliss deal, and people will say what they want to say. Like, and
how do people feel about you signing with Babyliss?
Yeah, they hate it. Some people.
What's the reason behind it?
Well, we were talking about the whole sellout comment. Like,
sell out? Why? That's what I don't get. Why sell out?
I was the review guy, so you could come to my channel and see any other brand clippers really. But like, if we're being 100% honest, like, Andis never sent me nothing. So guess who I didn't do reviews for?
Andis.
Wall hardly ever sent me. So. And it was never biased, but it was like I started doing reviews. If you want to send me a bag, I'll do it. Mm-hmm. And I did it. So to me, it's like the 245 deal. I want more opportunities to come up. I want to educate. Dennis ultimately was like, we want you on the team because you're not trying to be famous. You want to get up and teach more people.
Yeah.
And you have a passion about educating. So sell out, whatever. Like, go watch somebody else for other Clipper reviews. Like, it don't hurt my feelings. But that was my point, is like, people are going to speak on stuff they know nothing about.
What's crazy to me is that people are defending brands that the brands don't do anything for them, and my biggest way of defending Babyliss is because, and I say this with all due respect, I am Babyliss. Because when I signed with when I first became when I was in your shoes, Sean, I had to sit here and explain to people what Babyliss was.
Yeah.
I didn't jump on anyone's wave. I didn't jump on the wall wave. I didn't jump on any because that's what every other barber was using. Oster. I didn't jump on any of that. I jumped on what opportunity came to me because I saw the bigger picture. I tell barbers all the time, I look, all right, you can argue that wall is greater or Andes is greater, etc. You can argue all that. But then what do you say when a guy like me shows the work that I do using a Babyliss clipper, right? It's a proven concept. Look what I did using this clipper. But not only that, look at what Babyliss has done in what, 7 years? Just, I mean, as far as clippers, look at what they've done in 7 years. Now, if you compare that to how long Wall's been out, how long Anna's been out, etc. But not only that, it wasn't until Babyliss did what they did before any other company said, oh, we got to tighten up. Let's do some color waves. Oh, let's do cordless. Oh, let's do that. So I think Babyliss shook the industry and it woke everybody up. Now, okay, maybe they may or may not be a fan favorite. They might be 50-50. They might, who knows? Because it always fluctuates, right? I always hear like, our number one seller is this. Now is this. It's cool. But the end of the day is like, bro, if Babyliss did that in 7 years, what do you think they're going to do in the next 5?
Yeah.
Right? Compared to everybody else. My opinion, and they're only going to get better. They're very innovating. The FX1, I think that concept is amazing, bro. Have you used them yet? There you go. Beautiful. The concept of just being able to change the battery, not having to worry about cords or charging your battery. Like, it's so much cool to it. And sure, you're going to get the people that are going to be like, of course you're saying that because they're paying you to say that. Okay, one, of course. I'm getting paid, of course. But at the end of the day, I will not put, bro, you can't just pay me to say anything about anything.
Well, that was the point we said is people will do anything for money. No, me elevating and working towards getting to work for a company that I respect, that I would love to work for, and taking a spot with them is not doing anything for money. Me saying they're good and that's the clipper I like better.
And then getting paid for it just makes it that much sweeter.
Yeah. And because like I've been unbiased for years on my reviews. I use everything. And so now I came out and said, hey, listen, I know I've been the guy doing all the clipper reviews. I appreciate all these companies that took care of me all these years. And I was honest the whole time. But, you know, one thing I can't say, like, I love Babyliss quality. I've always used them. I don't have to dog other brands. I love the custom stuff is like, that's my swag. Like, I love unique custom stuff. Like, so all of that makes them unique it's
who we are, bro. Yeah. If you listen to this entire podcast,
that's where it fits.
Or if you watch me or follow me, you know that I'm always stepping outside the box with my work, with my creativity, with my content, and that's what Babyliss is. They're the custom effects. First company to ever create clippers where you can design your own colorways, right? First clipper company to really team up with like B. Clark's or do the influencer clippers like the Lowe's Cutter, the Patty Cuts, the Sophie Stagel, the Rob, the Originals. First company to do all these things to go battery, cordless. I mean, dude, the list goes on. Yeah. You cannot be mad because that style of innovating is who I am as a barber, of my style, and who you are, and who everybody in the team is. So if you're just a guy that just, or a girl now, respectfully, that just sees, I need a good machine so I can cut hair 12 hours a day and this and this and that, and you just want to keep it simple, then go with a more simple company. If you want to go with somebody that's going to reach and step out the box, and sometimes maybe it may not hit the way it hits, but sometimes it hits greater than what you think, bro, that's who we are, and that's what Babyliss is. And that's why I tell you people, like, I am Babyliss. I was a part of it when I had to sit here and sell it to the people, literally sell it, because everyone was like, what the hell is what's a Babyliss? Yeah. Or what's a what's a Babyliss? The amount of names, bro, that I've gotten, like, so that's what it is, bro. So to the people that I tell that sit there in my comments, and it's not a lot, but I see it in other people's posts, I just be like, cool, hey, bro, it's okay to feel however you guys want to feel, but just keep that same energy later on. Because later on when we do take over, remember what you just said and keep that. We don't want you, bro. We don't want a bandwagon fan or supporter. We want real people that are really in it for the right reasons.
Yeah, I know you've been with Babyliss for how long now? Since 2015?
It'll be 7 years, bro.
2016 or so?
I got signed in 2016.
2016, I remember that, man. It's like, yo, D, I'm about to get signed by Babyliss, bro. I was like, Los, you're about to change the game, man.
No, you said what? I
was like,
oh, Baby, what?
Babyliss.
Who's Baby?
I remember Babyliss was really one of the first ones to really make the clippers back in the hood. back in the hometown, or like the original barbershops, like the old
Bro.
shops, they used to take the T-line outliners and saw
Yeah, oh
the
yeah.
piece off, so it could be more of a
Making a skeleton.
Making a
That was the
skeleton, all of
OG.
No, that wasn't Babyliss that
No,
did it.
but they did it.
they
They
basically
did it
with the-
professionally
Yeah.
because of I Cut Pro. You guys remember I Cut Pro?
Oh, yeah.
but we used to do that way back in the day, so
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
like a known thing when people just do that just to get around those angles a little bit easier.
Yeah,
with
but
the blades.
how many like stylist ladies are gonna sit there with a fucking saw and start sawing their trimmers in half,
Yeah,
right?
right.
The
You can
real
get your urban guys like us to
Yeah,
do it, but you're not gonna get. And that's one of the things that I loved about Babyliss is that they were catering to barbers, but at the same time they were still holding on to the stylists because they knew there was a merge coming. And this is how we got the color effects, the custom effects for the colorway. Because not only did we want it to be like Michael Jordan, I mean not Michael Jordan, but Nike, where you can customize your own shoes for. Because do you guys know the story behind Jordan in the Jordan shoes? Did you guys watch the movie Air?
Yeah, I watched it. They
Well,
basically gave him
at the time, there was a rule that you couldn't have X amount of color on your shoe. It had to be a certain percentage of color, and if you didn't, you had to pay a fine per
So
every
they said, let's
for
find
every game.
Let's pay it.
Let's pay it. But my point is that they did all this new stuff to also keep and attract the stylists that love colors that want to match and all this and all that. So they
don't confine people. You know, when you put people in the box and really confine them to like one selection, you're driving away a whole bunch of other market of people.
creative people, bro. And now we live in a world where people want to express themselves so much. Like you have to feed the beast. And I always said you have to feed the beast, but you can't just say nothing's gonna stay the same forever. I think I have a pretty high clearance on Babyliss and what's to come. To my knowledge, because every time I ever hang out with Dennis, he fills me in.
He loves.
He's
selling.
like a fucking.
I'm gonna tell you this.
Yeah, he's a
He loves
leaker.
selling.
Dennis,
Yeah.
you're a leaker.
I'm a CT. He's like, you want to see something? I'm
Yeah.
like, yeah. And he
Imagine
takes
me.
it back.
Imagine me when I'm
excited
cutting his
about
hair.
it.
Yeah.
Dennis would be like,
Well,
"All right, Los,
look what
here
I'm
it is."
working on.
He's like, "Here it is, Los." Can you guys hear me? Is my mic
Yeah,
on?
yeah.
This is coming out in 2036. All right. Do not tell nobody. Like that's the type of shit Kevin.
Yeah.
Kevin
It's
Dennis
exciting,
got.
bro.
It is so exciting because I remember during COVID, bro. I don't know if you guys remember when J Majors had the CT drive-through because of the COVID. It was he had a CT event, but it was a drive-through series where you would just park your car in a drive-through.
I remember that. That was
yeah,
crazy
and
video.
this educators make a video. He had Wall educators make a video. He had Babyliss make a video, and I did a sick ass cut there.
Yo, shout out to Jay, bro.
He's always killing it too, right?
Mad creative.
But that driveway, that's when he started telling us about the snap effects, about the battery coming off. And this is 2020, bro. So imagine you as an educator getting that information, and I'm just that weight on me to just want to tell people like, ugh. But Dennis told me, listen, bro, no one else knows though. So if it leaks,
Only
you're pretty much fired.
Yeah, you liable.
So maybe he just
Breach
said
of
that to make me
contract.
feel some type of way, but every single time I cut Dennis's hair, bro, he pulls out his bag weighs like 68 pounds, heavy as shit, and he pulls out all these tools and all these gadgets, and I just who I'm cutting and how he is how I am with hair. It's how I'm always trying new things, innovating, thinking of the head of the future. So when I tell people, I'm like, look, dude, okay, if you guys are not a fan of Babyliss yet, but at least you know the brand. But in
Just
5
wait.
years, just wait. It's only gonna get bigger and better, bro. So when I was saying earlier, like I like to think I have a high clearance and knowing there's still stuff that I don't know that's coming, but Dennis would just sit there and tell us like, watch, we're working on the new shit. This shit that people are excited about now, that shit that we were working on 2 years ago. We're going on newer stuff. It's gonna go crazy. It's gonna go harder. So that's what I look forward to.
Yeah.
What's going on here?
I don't know, but it's not sitting good for you.
Nah, yo, it takes a long time too to manufacture and develop a product because there's different versions that you gotta go through, and then you gotta put it on the market. And you gotta test it, and when you're doing it at a level that Babyliss is doing it, you're talking about hundreds of thousands of units.
Oh, and then months, bro. Just to switch something else, it's gonna take about damn near almost a year, a season.
It's the whole thing to it. So all these planning. So I'm not surprised if you'll have something from like 2035.
No, I just
Yeah,
talking
so
shit. Like, but he will be like, yo,
But yeah,
2036.
far ahead.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this: what do you bring? Well, I don't want to say it like that. What do you bring to the table? What do you think you're gonna bring to the table
That's a good question.
for Babyliss to come? Because you are bigger on YouTube, like you say, or you're more focused on YouTube than you are on Instagram, which is good and refreshing because you're gonna be one of few Babyliss barbers that focuses strictly on YouTube. So what do you see yourself bringing to the table, man?
I think that obviously, I think like we were talking about earlier, I think I'm gonna do like a little breakout session on just some important things for YouTube. Like obviously, there's so much we could have a 3 hour. Well, I mean, we got
Yeah.
a 3-day course, but
Yeah.
I might not be able to teach 3 days worth. But Yeah, I mean, I think, like I said, originally the reason I got to be an affiliate was because Dennis saw like that I had some YouTube pull. So as strange as it seems to think that there's people out there that don't know who you are, or like, I'm going to bring that audience. I'm going to bring my audience.
Yeah,
you know,
your YouTuber,
which is growing fast too. I mean, you know how the numbers work. Like it exponentially continues. So like I hit 100K like 2 months ago.
Congratulations.
I'm about to hit
on YouTube.
Yeah, I'm about to
subscribers.
hit like 120.
You got your
already.
plaque.
Yeah, I got my plaque.
Congrats,
so
bro.
Appreciate it.
Man.
How long? I gotta ask you this. How long after you hit that number and your plaque coming in? How long is that?
And how long did it take for you to
A
get
month, 4 years.
it? 4
Did
years.
they tell you what time to wait, or it just shows up?
No, it just showed up. Yeah. Well, I mean, I got an email that said like, "Hey,
Congrats.
go to this link and you put your info in." And it said it'll usually take however long, and then it showed up. So
All right. So, given what you take and what you know from YouTube now, what's it take to succeed in YouTube for someone that's gonna start kicking it off right now,
number one is consistency,
every day?
like everything. So not even like you have to do that often, but I've literally I got
Have
you
a
know,
schedule.
people I consider friends. And I do it always the same day, always the same time type of thing. I don't know that you have to be that specific with it.
But it helps.
I'm that kind of person. But I will say I got people I consider friends that maybe started back when I started, and they've gone through seasons, and no doubt it gets tough, right? I'm not talking about my guy back here, but I am. I didn't realize I was. I was talking about somebody else, but,
Which
but
one?
my guy Markel over here.
Raise your hand, Markel. Is you
Yeah.
glasses?
So, but he's seen firsthand. You know, you can get some momentum going. Like you said, what did you say? The ball,
Body motion stays in motion.
stays in motion. Yeah. So YouTube, I mean, I think everything is all like that, right? But on YouTube, I've seen guys go hard at it and stop, and then they pop back up and stop. And YouTube punishes the heck out of you, man. So
They want you to be
I haven't
consistent.
missed.
That's me all day, bro.
It's tough.
Yeah.
And so I haven't missed, and I've watched the numbers, and I know enough. I'm not an expert, but I've seen enough and know when I went to this many videos, this happened, and I've done enough to know and watch people that started with me that have 6,000 subscribers today.
Yeah.
Right.
That's
And
fine.
like I'm like, you know, at the end of the day, ultimately, this is on Instagram too. Good content does good, bad content does bad. Like that's all there is to it.
Do you edit your own videos?
Not right now, but I was for
So-
all up until 6 months ago.
So you got a full-time editor?
Yeah.
Nice, bro.
Yeah, I gotta edit.
How does that work? Like, how did you figure that out? You just hired him? Or
yeah.
Is it a good friend of yours that's kind of
No. I wish it was kind of. I wish you know, it'd be a little closer to me. It's obviously hard to have somebody edit your content, be what you want, and whatever. So that's been a fun
Kind
time.
of learning your
Fun
style.
time.
right?
Yeah, I've lost 2 editors since I started, so they've had to restart twice.
why?
but
Why would
They've
what
just
reasons?
quit.
Are they local people?
No,
or-
it's a company that
Bro,
does
sometimes
it.
I wish. Imagine just having an editing job. That's it. Nothing else.
Yeah.
You're just editing for
That's
someone
it.
else.
But like even more so specific than if I'm just a vlogger or even somebody editing this podcast. It's a lot easier than saying, all right, now we're going to use the 1.5 guard all the way open. And like, they have no idea what you're
Right.
talking about.
That is on. Think about. I did the blueprint 1 and 2.
yeah.
I went through that struggle.
Yeah. So, but I do have an editor now. I kind of chewed him out like 2 weeks ago because that's frustrating. Like, I'm paying him a lot of money. It's been inconsistent. Like, it's not my problem that your editor's quitting. I'm still paying full price, and I can do the content better. It's taking y'all 5 days to give me the video. I could do it in 2 hours better than what you're giving me. I kind of told him that. So they cut me a deal, gave me a new editor. He's crushing it so far. So I'm hopeful. But at the end of the
Wait,
contract,
so you deal with like a company?
yeah,
Like
Who?
an agency,
You
right?
want to share that?
it's called
or
Editing Machine.
is that through the internet, through your hometown internet?
Through internet, yeah. So there's a portal I upload. I can write as much description as I want. Like if I took this, say, hey, listen, I did this podcast with my guy Lowe's. I need a 15-minute teaser of, you know, if I got some specific points, put that in, or I just give it to them. And they put the pop-ups up there and transitions and music and they build it. So, and then I can critique it. They send it to me and I can leave frame by frame. Like cut from here to here, like you coughed and it, like, hey, they should cut that out on their own.
Yeah.
That's the type of stuff the new editors
Yeah.
wasn't doing though.
Yeah.
Like leaving some glitches in and like I would say, yeah, Los, we were gonna. Sorry, I stuttered. Yeah, Los, we were gonna, and they leave the whole thing in there.
That's
I'm
so
like, bro,
frustrating,
come
man.
on.
It's because you
So-
know what it is, bro. There's no passion or love behind it. It's a job.
Yeah.
So they're not gonna see what you and I see or feel.
Yeah.
They're just gonna be like, fuck it, just get it going. Chop
Or
it up.
and sometimes I think they're just like, let's send it over and see what he says. Like
He might be cool with it.
exactly, yeah. Which I mean, I get that, but it's like, man, like the level I want is.
And that goes to show, if you're that type of person and that's how your work ethic is, you're not gonna get far in life. But if you're someone that, imagine if someone really took their time and perfected it and made you even sound better and look better, you're gonna invest more into him because you're gonna be like, oh, you ain't going nowhere, bro. You're mine.
Yeah, you kill
What's it gonna take to keep you?
Yeah.
And I don't think people see it like that. People would rather get numbers, thinking they're gonna overwork themselves and burn themselves out, rather than find one person to help build that one person, because now your job's gonna get easier. You get a better understanding, all because you love what you fucking do.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of people, and that's how it is with hair, right? People think, well, maybe if I do 20 cuts a day, I'll make at least this much. But they don't realize, like, dude, if you really work hard and put your effort into everything, you don't have to do 20 cuts a day. You could do 5 and make the same amount of money if you would have done, just raise your prices. But everyone's always just trying to get the short way. But listen, guys, there's a lot more to talk about, bro. We're already an hour and 15 minutes in. We can carry this on for easy over an hour and a half. But if you had to drop some fire knowledge before you go, Mr. Sean, Miss SCH, and yeah, bro, what is it that you can share with the audience watching? I know you got a lot of people coming from YouTube that are probably going to check this out and hear your story that probably didn't even know your full story behind it. But if you had to share some stuff for them, man, that's your camera right there, bro. Feel free and go crazy.
So I'll give you my last point, and then I'm going to tell the story that I was going to tell you.
Oh, hell yeah. Let's do it.
I'll summarize it, but I think it's.
I want to hear it.
I think it's going to be super cool. You've heard it in a short story, but they definitely haven't, and it goes with this last point. So, I mean, everything we talked about tonight. I moved too far away. Here we go. Like everything really we talked about goes back to, like I said, like just keep showing up, whatever it is. So like my YouTube channel is where it's at because I stay consistent. I got the 245 gig because I kept showing up. Like quite literally, I kept showing up. The shop has done well because I kept showing up. I kept talking to these guys in their ear and pushing them, and like just being consistent with whatever. I can tell that both of you are where you're at because that's how you operate. So I think that's the key. I think too many people are afraid of whatever. I think where I come from, people are afraid to like do anything beyond what's normal there. Like I'm probably the only person in town with a 100K plaque from YouTube.
That's
people
crazy.
Not walking around talking to a camera. That's crazy.
Yeah.
I opened my own business and I made it look different. I'm not doing it like our state board hates us. We don't operate how they want us to. But people are afraid to
step out the box.
Step out or step out of the comfort zone. Like they would still be at the restaurant. I realized that there are still people working at Texas Roadhouse that started there when I started there at 15.
It's sad.
And if they're happy and they're cool, but too many people
True.
The same thing as the barbers that cut till they're 90 because they have to, that never have that passion to do any more.
Anything greater.
And I guess ultimately that's okay. My dad told me something powerful one day that was like, if everybody was you'd be regular.
Yeah.
So when you get mad that they don't work as hard or they just don't care, or they're lazy or they do this, if they were all like you, you'd be average.
Wow.
Like, so you're where you're at because
you're
not
they're not like you as much, and there are other people like me but everybody has their strengths. So I think if you're that person that's scared of what your friends are going to think, switching jobs or the unsafe part of starting over, like there's so many pieces to it. But I can tell you, man, 10 years ago, if he knew I was sitting here and all these things were happening, I wouldn't believe it. And so let me tell you my story because it goes back.
Before you tell the story, it's crazy you say that because I always tell myself, I'm like, man, Los, imagine like if we go back 10 years ago and I just showed you this image of your space or everything, like how would you feel then? And that's how I become grateful. I'm like, damn, that's like you appreciate that.
Yeah, that helps you appreciate where you're at. Yeah. So 10 years ago, honestly, even a little more. I'm in barber school. Blueprint 1's coming out.
The first one?
Blueprint 1. A DVD.
That was more than 20. Yeah. That was more than 10 years ago, bro. That was
almost 11. Yeah, I was almost out of school. So it would have been like 20.
Yeah, no, it was 20. I filmed it in 2012 and dropped it at the end of 2012, almost 2013.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So I was following you. And again, I was in this small town. My barber school, like I said, literally a 80-year-old man, concrete walls, white paint, like just this bland. I tell them like it's
flavorless.
Oh my gosh, and like terrible haircuts and whatever. So I knew I wanted to push, and I see Los was one of the guys I was following, and I see this DVD coming out. Like even your like little previews, I'm like I remember this is your dude. I think his name's Los too.
Yeah, yeah.
You did a mohawk on him,
Apprentice, the
with
split mohawk.
a zigzag that went through it,
Yeah.
and I was like, I gotta know how to do that cut. So you had posted, you're like, yo, it's gonna drop Tuesday the 8th or whatever. And I'm like, all right, like I'm setting an alarm on my phone type of thing. Like I'm getting it. And I don't know, you probably said like only 100 available. Like I'm getting that DVD. So I wake up Tuesday, whatever, it's my day off. And I get up like 8 a.m. or whatever. Like you like it drops at 8 a.m. Like 7:55. I'm like,
wow, bro.
so I go to buy it and it don't work. The link doesn't work. So I DM'd you. And back, you know, this is way back. So you like you immediately saw my DM. Wrote me right back like, hey, man, I appreciate you letting me know. Like, you're the first person to try to buy this 801, bro. And you're like, I appreciate you letting me know. Like, hey, if you just want to PayPal me to lock it in.
I think I remember, bro. I think I remember this.
So-
You should try and find that conversation in your thread.
I might be able to.
It might be.
I probably never deleted it.
Low key.
So I got to send you a bunch of stuff for you to throw in here. So I'll go back through the archive. But so I DM'd you, hey, it's not working, but I'm trying to get it. Like, don't let me miss out. Like, I'll do whatever I need to do to lock one in. And you hit me back. Like, hey, if you just want to send, I think it was like 55 or something. Like, send it to my PayPal, and you know that covers shipping, and I'll ship it out to you as soon as I, you know, whatever, however it was gonna work.
On a DVD, bro.
On a DVD, bro. I can't even watch it today if I wanted to.
Right, where are you gonna put the shit in?
There are people watching that are gonna go, "What's a DVD?"
Literally, bro.
Seriously. So anyway, bro. So it's like lunchtime, and I'm out and about. And I'm running errands. I specifically can tell you. Do you have moments? You have stuff you don't remember, right? Like all kinds of times you don't remember. There's certain things you just remember.
It'll stay with you forever.
Just a weird, like where you were at, what it looked like, like. There's just stuff like that. So
nostalgia.
I can tell you the gas station I was walking through, and my phone rang at like noon, and it said Chicago, Illinois. And at the time, bro, like this is barber school, so I don't have Instagram, like barely going. I don't know anybody in Chicago, Illinois. So I'm like, what in the world? This is like scammers calling you all day and stuff too. So it's like somebody's trying to get a hold of me. And so I answered it, and it was you. And you were like, hey man, what's up? This is Los. And I'm like,
wow.
I mean, I'm in barber school, bro. Like this is a dude doing the craziest stuff I've seen online. Like A-Rod was still killing some stuff, but like y'all were doing Marcus had his crazy, fresheristic.
Rob the original was on.
I loved all of it. And they were on it.
They were.
I don't know who I was on the first one, but so I mean, these are like y'all were the ones I'm looking at. Like these are obviously the best guys out right now, and I'm trying to be the best. So that's who I'm gonna study.
Yeah.
And you called me, so I'm like, Lowe's, you know, yeah, from Chicago. Like I just put out the DVD, and I'm like get out of here.
That's crazy.
And you said, man, I just wanted to call you and thank you. Like you were the first person to buy it. And I appreciate you supporting. And you're like, where do you cut? And I said, oh, I'm in Kentucky, but I'm actually in barber school. And you said, bro, this is not barber school material. Like this is advanced. And I said, man, listen, like not to talk about myself, but like I'm definitely like the best one in my school. Like I'm taking this serious. I'm gonna do something one day. I'm gonna, you know, I'm not gonna go learn the basics because I'm gonna be a basic barber.
Right.
I'm gonna aim high. And so I'm gonna you're gonna send me this DVD and I'm gonna be able to do that stuff soon. And you were like, all right, man, like that's what's up. Like there's some basic stuff on there too. There's a couple like a two on the sides with a taper, a little comb over or something. Be like, but that's what's up. This is my number. And like if you ever need anything, whatever. And so just a crazy moment for that to be where it started. And at the time, like you were really just a independent, like kind of some elegant stuff, kind of because like Moody and all them were like those are your homies. I think back then you were kicking it and so you were doing some stuff, but like that was your first I'm putting this out. That's all I know about it. But obviously, you know the whole scoop. But like you're going out, like I'm gonna put something out and see how it goes.
Change the game.
And so like I'm a barber student, and now we're sitting up here, both working for Babyliss, both got a bag.
Right.
You're here, BB.
Like doing the podcast.
Like killing it, bro.
Like you said earlier, like if that's not proof though that you know, and they want me to move to Tampa to work with 245, and I actually take a lot of pride in going back home to my small town.
Right.
Yeah, of
and
course.
being able to go put this on camera and tell all these people, like, don't ever let where you're from. Bro, I drive 2 hours to the airport every trip.
You're a savage.
2 hours. Because we have an airport that only flies here.
Oh, you need a...
Don't ask why I didn't just
you need
fly
to fucking take a flight to the airport to get
Yeah. Well, I did one time. I flew here to O'Hare, or to O'Hare, and then went to Tampa. Because I missed my flight anyway. But like, don't let the fact that you're in a small town, aside from like that mindset, is what holds you down the most. But I take a lot of pride in the fact that like I can stand on stage. Now I'm gonna be able to stand on the Babyliss stage and say, I don't care if any of you in here think you from a town too small. You know, I don't want to hear it. You know, look at what can be accomplished. And also, I think it kind of keeps me humble because when I go back home, I'm like, oh, back to good old Owensboro, where you know where it's old school and like people hate us because we're different. Like it's like okay,
they hate us because they ain't us.
Yeah, we're like, but I actually kind of enjoy that. It's
Bro,
it kind of keeps me like level and grounded.
That, oh man, that's crazy, bro.
That's a crazy turn.
I had no idea. That's a pretty cool story. I had no idea, man. And it also
It's like a full circle.
It takes me back to that moment because I just how you said you remember how you felt when I called you that exact moment. You talking about it? I remember what it took to get all that, the amount of work it took to. I sold.
It was serious. It was
I
good
sold,
production, man.
bro. I sold thousands worldwide.
Really? Wow.
I sold. I'll show you footage later of like. When I was, I had my mom, my girlfriend at the time, her mom, my sisters, all in the living room packaging.
Wow.
I had I would go to the post office and containers and just shipping garbage bags of all DVDs because it was just something that it was impactful in the industry, and I put a lot of work into it. And that was, I mean, I promise you, I would never look at that today because there's gonna be so much wrong with it by looking at it today.
You hate it.
I don't know, but I know, I definitely don't know. I didn't know then what I know now.
Yeah, it's all relative though, bro.
Right? So if I look at it, to this day, I shit you not, Sean, I get people that email me, is the blueprint still available? I'm like, you do not want that. I promise
That's
you.
old news, bro.
Yeah, I still had cords on my shit. Like,
Oh, man.
the way I cut is not how I cut now. I appreciate it, but no, it's you go check on eBay. It might be on eBay. It might.
We should check.
No, I promise you.
$1,000. Let's
Still,
cut it.
maybe.
Artifacts.
But it's crazy because that, and then, you know, when it was such a successful DVD and work, I was like, well, now I got to go harder on the part 2. Right. And the plan for years has been to do a BP3. But there's no, I can't do a disc.
Yeah.
It has to be streamed. So now what I've been arguing and fighting is that this industry is changing so fast is that I have to somewhat do what Josh is doing, like online streaming BP3 course and constantly add as I go. But there's no excuse. It's just one. That's a lot of work.
Is that what you want to be doing?
Yeah.
We back to the balance. You have to decide which way you're gonna go.
Is that what I want to do?
You can't be everywhere.
There's other things that I want to do. This I'm like you said, just like you're a part of all those brands. I'm also level 3 Babyliss, Josh OP. Got my own brand, my own studio, my own facility, my own classes. It's a lot, and I cut hair behind the chair. It's a lot to deal with, bro. You know what I mean? So it's hard. I can't just come home and film for a week and a half and do a whole. I could, but it'll be hard. But it's in the works. It's been a dream to finalize the BP3 and really go to fucking town on that last part. But bro, thanks, man. That's crazy, and it's crazy because you're here now.
Yeah,
you know what I mean, and. You've gotten so used to each other now. I don't think you see me now. You don't treat me like you're starstruck or anything. You treat me so normal. But to hear that, it sounds crazy because I had no clue, bro.
That was a hard line as you come up. I think I learned a lesson at some point. Maybe not a lesson, but I just realized something that if I want to be on stage next to you, then I got to stop treating all these people like they're better than me. I can know that you're at a point I want to get to, but I'll tell my guys, like, if I want to play in the NBA against LeBron, I can't go up and ask him if he wants to take a picture,
a selfie, or a fan. You can't fanboyish.
Exactly, fanboy's the term. But so like I had to change my mindset and say, Los is just like me. DC's just like me. They're just a step ahead, but they're not better than, you know, like I don't need to be a big fan of them. I can appreciate what they've done, but I need to treat them like an equal. And I started going up and saying, yo, Los, what's up? What you been working on? Oh, I'm opening a second shop. To you, that's something you don't, you know what I mean? Like, it can be looked at, and people started talking back to me like it was equal.
And I always tell people this. I'm like, and I'm sure you guys can relate to this. I probably drop my guard down a lot faster to people that come up to me and talk to me like a normal person than someone that comes up to me instantly. And I'm not saying you shouldn't, but if someone comes up to me, for example, and is just like, yo, Los, big fan of your work. Do you mind if I get a picture? That instantly, in my mind, is like, okay, yeah, keep it professional. Let's take this photo, keep it short, simple, sweet, because sometimes people don't know how to end it and it gets awkward. Yeah. So I take control. Hey, bro, I appreciate it. Where you from? All right, cool. Hey, bro, nice meeting you, man. Thank you. And I send them on their way.
Yeah.
But if somebody came up to me and just, I'm like, hey, dude, sick ass shoes. Oh, bro, thanks. Yeah, man, yo. So what you got going on next? Just because you even treat me like a normal person, I'm gonna reflect that same energy.
It's a different conversation than you just had 1,000 times.
And you're not even asking me for a photo. I don't even know who you are. By the end of the night, bro, we're best friends.
Yeah.
Just how me and DC started.
Yeah.
Like,
Crazy,
we
bro.
met, it was just a vibe, and before you know it, bro, look, if fast forward 7, 8 years, whatever later, we're cool. Because it would have been a whole different conversation if he would have walked up to me and be like, yo, you want to get a photo with you? And this and that. I would have known, all right, well, let me put that wall up, let me keep it professional. He wants a photo, cool, send him on his way. But because you went about it different, we build relationships. So I think those are some straight gems, man, that I think people want to understand. And if you are antisocial or an extrovert, is it extrovert or introvert? Introvert, right? Introvert, my bad. That you people, I think for us it's easier. You're on camera, I'm on stage. We're around the public eye a lot, that we start to get more comfortable with just being able to talk to anyone. And I think there's people out there that their biggest fear is to be on stage or just to talk to anyone. To be honest with you, we're, like Sean says, we're just regular ass people. If you just treat us like normal people, and it doesn't have to be much, but just a simple, like, hey, how's it going, man? That alone can change everything, bro. And for not just me, for anyone out there that you look up to. And you never know where you might be if you just show up, like Sean says, and you put in that work.
Yeah.
So, once again, bro, if you have anything else to say, the camera's there. I appreciate you being here. It's a fire episode. It flew by.
Yeah.
It flew the hell by.
You're right, though. I don't know how you kept Josh under like 4 hours, because he's just
you see that timer right there? That's why.
Hey,
if
dude,
it wasn't for that, I would have been like, yo, Josh.
Yeah, it's easy to sit here and just get rolling. Like we're all passionate about in our own way. We have our own lanes, but again, like we're in the same industry, so we can appreciate, every little difference and the things we have in common. But it's easy to anytime. Heck, we were sitting here going before we started, like, hey, let's stop, because we're like ripping already. And like,
and you know what's crazy?
It's just easy to do.
I do watch a lot of podcasts, and some people like to have notes and know their guests and know this. And just to share with you guys, man, you don't need to do all that to start a podcast. One of my biggest ways of doing podcasts and keeping it interesting is that I truly didn't do research on Sean at all, because I'm not here to tell you about Sean. I got Sean here to tell you about himself. I want to ask all the questions that even people watching are going to ask, because I don't know. So I'm here to find out. And this is why people always tell me when we're done. Like he was telling me earlier, I've never done a podcast before. Don't worry about it. I got you. Because I'm gonna ask you shit that I genuinely want to know. And then that's how we're going to kick it off. And before you know it, we're an hour and a half in, and you guys are just here. We're like, holy crap, we're here. So that being said, man, that's your camera, bro. Let's lock it. Let's go get some dinner, and let's enjoy this weekend, bro. Let's go. What is it? Oh, drop some your goodbyes, man. What is it?
Yeah, I was gonna say. I thought we were done.
Where do people find you?
Hey.
What's your IG? What's your YouTube? And drop a final word. Bro.
So you guys are already on YouTube if you're watching this. So go subscribe to Sean Hair if you are not already. I do a ton of haircut tutorials, wide open book. Same as sitting here. I like to answer any question. I still respond to every comment on YouTube to this day. So that's really where I can touch people. Instagram I don't do as much, but I'm gonna do a little more. But so Sean Hair on Instagram and YouTube. Very broad knowledge. I'm recording my whole series, every step of opening this barbershop.
Beautiful.
Full detailed, full transparency, how much stuff costs, where the location is. If something messes up, I'm going to show it and show the process. So I have very broad content with pretty much anything that I think can bring value, I put out. So I think everybody can find some value in something on there. And you'll be seeing me on stage soon with my guy Los over here. So looking forward to that.
Of course, bro.
Hey,
likewise.
You got more pull than me, but let's make it happen where my first time is up there with you.
Okay.
That'd be sick. You don't even do stage anymore.
No.
Quit on me.
I'm sure I can make that happen. You know what would be dope, bro? When we go to the training, the Babyliss training, I'm sure there I think Mike does the schedules. I'll be like, yo, Mike, throw me and Sean out there. That would be dope. I mind, because you're a beast too.
After this conversation, it'll be fun too.
100%.
Yeah, no doubt.
Well, all right, guys. That was it, man. In the Cut podcast with Mr. Sean Hair, and we got DC as our co-host today. Thank you for watching, man. Let's go.